Billionaire son born blind. How a humble girl uncovered an incredible, life-changing secret. Lily Evans stood proudly behind the counter of her family's hardware store, surrounded by a mosaic of dusty tools and paint cans, where each item whispered stories of labor and life. She pushed back a strand of hair, her brow furrowed in concentration. At 16, she was the backbone of the store, working alongside her single mother, both determined to keep their small business afloat amidst a sea of sprawling mansions that towered over their modest home. Tonight, the community charity event was bustling, bright lights illuminating familiar faces. This was a night of hope, a chance to bridge the gap between classes, a tantalizing blend of charity mingled with glimmers of unexpected connections. And there he was, Ethan Parker, the blind son of a billionaire, gliding through the crowd as if he owned the world. But he hadn't chosen that life. He had only inherited it. When Ethan's smile broke through the throng like sunshine after a storm, Lily felt a flicker of warmth. "Hey, I'm Ethan," he said, his voice smooth and inviting, like a warm blanket on a chilly night. She introduced herself, and as they began to speak, their worlds collided, his opulence against her modesty. "Your hardware store, what's it like?" he asked, genuinely curious. Their conversation flowed effortlessly. As they shared laughter about the silliness of some customers, Lily's nervousness melted away. She saw in him a kindness that pierced through the bubble of wealth he inhabited, and in that exchange, hope blossomed. But as jokes turned into heart-to-heart moments, an elephant loomed between them, the glaring divide of privilege. Ethan's eyes, while devoid of sight, seemed to capture the essence of everything he wanted to know about the world around him. "Sometimes I wish I could understand what it's like," he admitted, voice heavy with guilt, each word resonating in the space between them. That confession made Lily's chest tighten. What good was his wealth if it shielded him from the struggles she faced daily? Just then the atmosphere shifted. News of a nearby development plan circulated, threatening to displace families just like Lily's. The fear in her eyes mirrored Ethan's, but for different reasons. "They can't take our home," Lily insisted, drawing strength from a deep-rooted queasiness growing within her. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." As their friendship deepened, laughter punctuated their shared silences. Yet the weight of their realities hung heavily between them. The looming crisis forced them to reckon not just with the threat of losing homes, but with the uncomfortable truth of their lives. Their worlds could clash, but did they have the power to merge? In moments of quiet, when they caught one another's gaze, Lily feared the unspoken truth. She had stumbled upon a secret in Ethan's past that might unravel everything they built. Could their bond withstand the unraveling of truths and societal barriers? In the heart of all this turmoil, an uncharted path lay ahead, with each step beckoning them to a deeper understanding of family, loyalty, and the meaning of true connection. As the evening wore on, the sounds of mingling chatter and the melodies from a nearby band created a warm, vibrant atmosphere. Lily's heart raced with a blend of excitement and anxiety. She stood beside Ethan, navigating their newfound connection, but thoughts of the impending development loomed dark. She could feel the heat of uncertainty gripping her, mixed with a flicker of hope that maybe, just maybe, together they could find a way to confront the shadows casting over their lives. "Let us get some air," she suggested, grateful for an excuse to step away from the throng. The night sky welcomed them with a gentle breeze that kissed their cheeks, calming her nerves. The two wandered toward the edge of the courtyard, where the music faded into a pleasant hum. Lily could see the city lights twinkling in the distance, but it was the man beside her who captured her full attention. "What's your favorite thing about the community event?" she asked, genuinely interested. Ethan's brow furrowed as he considered her question. "I love hearing the stories," he replied slowly. "The way people share their lives openly. It's real. Sometimes I feel disconnected from it all." Lily's heart panged with empathy. "You're part of it too, you know," she said softly. "You have every right to feel connected. even if things look different for you. He turned toward her, his face a canvas of uncertainty. It's easy to feel that way when I don't have the same experiences. I wish I could help, but my wealth seems more like a weight than a resource sometimes. His vulnerability struck a chord within her. Here was a boy encased in privilege, grappling with the burden it brought him. Maybe there's a way for you to help, she offered, emboldened now. Your voice could be powerful in fighting for our homes, for my community. Ethan's eyebrows shot up in surprise. You really think so? I might not see it, but I can feel the passion you have for your home, for your community. Absolutely, she said, her tone firm. You see things differently, Ethan. You might just have the perspective we all need. Imagine using your platform to stand up for us. Ethan's gaze drifted to the ground, considering her words. An idea seemed to spark in his mind, but doubt flickered in his eyes. What if they don't listen to me? I'm just the blind son of a billionaire. But you're more than that. Her voice was firm, determined to break through his self-doubt. Using your voice will show others there's strength in unity, in being heard by someone they don't expect. It could inspire change. A silence hung between them, electric and charged with possibility. Ethan was processing, his thoughts weaving through his feelings of inadequacy and intent to make a difference. Lily could see the flickers of light illuminate the shadows on his face, a complex backdrop of hope and hesitation. We'll figure this out together, he finally declared, the weight of earnestness in his voice. I want to help. Lily couldn't help the smile spreading across her face. Maybe this was the change they both needed, a fusion of their worlds, united by a cause that mattered. But just as the weight of their promise settled comfortably between them, the alluring sound of the crowd's jubilation was suddenly shattered by a heated argument off to the side. As they turned to see what was happening, a familiar face materialized from the chaos. One of Lily's friends stood there, eyes wide with fear, panic clinging to her every breath. Lily, you need to come quick, she shouted over the din, urgency slicing through the celebratory air. Lily's heart dropped. What was happening now? Ethan glanced at her, his expression a mixture of worry and confusion. What's wrong? Without hesitation, she gripped his hand tightly. Let us find out. Together, they rushed into the crowd, uncertainty swirling around them like a storm. What awaited them could change everything. Lily moved through the crowd, Ethan close beside her. The chatter that had filled the air moments before faded now, replaced by the sharp edge of worry. Each step she took echoed the rapid beats of her heart, urgency pulling her like a magnet towards whatever turmoil awaited. Over there. Lily pointed as they approached a cluster of her friends gathered around a railing. The faces were alight with concern and confusion. As they drew nearer, the words became clearer, loud, frantic voices pleading for calm and understanding. Just leave him alone. He didn't do anything, one of her friends yelled, her face a mix of anger and fear. Lily instinctively tightened her grip on Ethan's hand. He looked at her, eyes wide, his own mind racing to catch up. What was happening? They squeezed through the throng, and when they finally reached the front, the scene unfolded like something out of a nightmare. A boy from a neighboring community lay on the ground, trembling with distress as a small group of older teens stood over him, taunting him mercilessly. Lily recognized him, Sam, a quiet kid who mostly kept to himself, a victim of bullying for as long as she could remember. Why are they being so cruel? Ethan whispered, anger bubbling up inside him. Because they can be, Lily replied through gritted teeth. The weight of the situation filled her chest. But we need to help him. Let us go, Ethan said, determination sharpening his features as he stepped forward. Lily watched as he confidently approached the group, a stark contrast to his earlier uncertainty. Hey, what's going on here? He directed his voice towards them, standing tall. The bullies paused, taken aback by the unexpected authority in his tone. Stay out of this, one of them sneered, but there was hesitation beneath their bravado. You think it's cool to pick on someone who can't defend themselves? Ethan's words came out like a challenge, loud enough for the crowd to hear. Lily's breath caught in her throat. She'd never seen Ethan like this, his voice strong, conviction apparent. She felt her heart swell with pride and admiration. Maybe their previous conversation had ignited something within him after all. Just back off, he pressed, his eyes blazing. If you want to prove you're tough, start by walking away. There was a moment of silence. Then one of the bullies scoffed and took a step back. Whatever, man. We're done here, he muttered, shoving his way past, followed closely by the others. Slowly the tension began to lift. Sam, visibly shaken, took a shaky breath. Relief washed over him as Lily knelt beside him, feeling the deep pulse of gratitude in her heart. You're okay, Sam. We've got you. Ethan stood behind her, watching the boy with a new awareness. You didn't deserve that, he said gently, extending a hand. Sam looked up, unsure, his eyes still filled with fear but beginning to shine with hope. Thank you, he managed to whisper as he took Ethan's hand. Lily couldn't help but smile, her heart lightening at the transformation. Perhaps this was the beginning of something greater. A shift in Ethan's perspective and a step towards the unity she craved for her community. But even in that moment of triumph, a shadow loomed over the celebration. As they pulled Sam to his feet, another shout pierced the evening air. The same girl from before, wide-eyed and breathless, emerged from the crowd once more. Guys, you won't believe what just happened. It's bad. Really bad. The dread settled back into Lily's chest. What now? Ethan caught her eye, and she could see the flicker of uncertainty in his gaze again. They had just taken one brave step together, but what awaited them could change everything. Would they find the strength to face whatever was coming next? Lily felt a cold shiver run down her spine as she turned to face the girl, whose sharp intake of breath hinted at a whirlwind of emotions about to be unleashed. The crowd around them quieted, tension stretching like a taut rubber band ready to snap. What is it? Ethan asked, his voice steady, but Lily noticed the unmistakable tremor beneath his calm facade. She squeezed his hand tighter, readying herself for whatever was to follow. The girl glanced around, her urgency palpable. It's about Sam. She paused, swallowing hard. They've set up a rumor. They're saying he stole something valuable. A gasp rippled through the cluster of friends. Sam's eyes widened in horror. What? That's not true. He looked desperately at Lily, seeking reassurance amidst the chaos of disbelief. Right, Lily? You know me. I would never do that, she nodded fervently, her heart racing. We believe you, Sam. You don't have to worry about them. But it doesn't matter what we think, the girl interjected, her voice sharp with urgency. Everyone else is listening to them. They want to make an example of him. And it could get way worse. Lily's mind raced. She could feel the mood of the crowd shifting. It was no longer filled with a sense of victory, but rather an undercurrent of fear. What do we do? Ethan asked, his brows knitted together. For a moment, he looked just as vulnerable as Sam, the weight of the situation pressing down on him. As Lily's gaze flicked around, she noticed the attention of several bystanders was now locked onto Sam. Their expressions varied from skepticism to judgment, and they were starting to form murmurings that echoed painfully in the air. We need to stand up for him again, Lily said, conviction bubbling to the surface. We can't let them twist the truth. If we don't speak out, it'll spread like wildfire. Ethan nodded, solidarity blossoming in his expression. But how? They won't listen to us if they already think he is guilty. Let us find out who started this rumor, she said with a newfound determination growing inside her. If we can confront them, maybe we can clear his name. As they began to discuss a plan, Sam, visibly shaken, looked between them. I just want to go home. I didn't ask for this, he murmured, real fear in his voice. Lily dropped to one knee before him. I know. But if we don't fight for you now, this could follow you forever. You matter, Sam. You deserve your voice. We'll find a way. Tears welled in Sam's eyes, and in that moment, all the chaos faded into the background. It was just the three of them, caught in a moment of raw understanding. Okay, he whispered, wiping at his eyes. I'll try. I don't want to be scared anymore. Ethan stepped forward, a reassuring flame igniting within him. You won't be alone in this. We'll do it together. Just as Lily felt hope curling warm in her belly, a loud crash echoed from across the courtyard. The crowd gasped as a bonfire table was overturned. Lily's stomach dropped as she saw a group of the same bullies, laughter dancing in their eyes trained on them with malicious intent. Look at the loser. Thinks he can get away with everything. one of them shouted. Heart racing, Lily faced Ethan. This is just the beginning. If we don't act fast, it could spiral. With a fire igniting in her own chest, she turned to the group of friends. We're not just defending Sam anymore. We need to stand up against all of this. But as they rallied together, Lily noticed Sam's face fall, swallowed by anxiety once again. Would they truly be able to fight back against the tide of cruelty? The air was thick with uncertainty, but it was clear they had entered a battle far larger than any of them had anticipated. There was no turning back now. What was the worst thing that could happen if they spoke the truth? As fear gripped louder and louder, she pondered whether their collective courage would be enough to withstand the storm on the horizon. The tension hung in the air like a storm cloud ready to burst. Lily clenched her fists, feeling the warmth of determination fight against the chill of fear. The bullies were advancing now, laughter echoing in a cruel symphony, aiming to humiliate Sam further. Let us show them we won. Back down, she said, her voice cutting through the tension. We're stronger together. Who's with us? Ethan stood tall, giving Sam a supportive pat on the shoulder. We've got your back no matter what. Others, their faces a mix of fear and defiance, began to move closer, forming a protective barrier around Sam. Their solidarity, while shaky, felt like the first crack in the wall of intimidation. Sam, Lily said softly, trying to meet his gaze. You're not alone in this. We're going to fight for you. But Sam's eyes were clouded with doubt. What if they don't listen? What if this ruins everything? His voice was barely above a whisper, a mixture of hope and dread. Then we make them listen, Lily exclaimed, channeling the fight building inside her. We'll bring the truth to light, one way or another. We can gather proof. Someone has to know who started this rumor. Just then, the lead bully, a tall boy with a cruel grin, stepped forward. Poor Sam. Thinks he has a chance to defend himself. Let me guess his friends are too scared to stand up for him in the end. His mocking tone rippled through the crowd, and many shifted uncomfortably. Lily felt her heart race. Anger surged within her. You don't get to decide who he is, she shouted, her voice strong despite the fear clutching at her heart. You're all cowards for hiding behind lies. Ethan's eyes widened in surprise as he glanced at Lily, impressed yet anxious. The crowd turned to listen, murmurs rippling like a wave through the gathering. There was power in her words, an undercurrent of truth that people couldn't ignore. The bully laughed, but it felt forced, shaky. Oh please. You really think you can protect him? Everyone knows he's a loser, then let us put it to the test, Lily shot back, her voice steady and unwavering. Let us find out the truth, and let everyone decide for themselves. Ethan nodded, stepping in next to her. Exactly. It's time to expose the real losers here. The girl who had first shared the rumor nodded, her expression shifting from shock to admiration. I'll talk to people. There are others who saw what really happened. Others in the crowd began to murmur as support bloomed. Yeah, let us get the truth out. One girl exclaimed, emboldened by Lily's fearless attitude. In that moment, something changed. It was as though the collective courage of their small group began to chip away at the bully's armor of bravado. Yet, just as sparks of hope ignited, a sharp voice cut through the air like a knife. You think you can change anything? Another bully stepped forward, this one wearing a scowl that darkened his features. You're all just making it worse for yourselves. Lily's heart sank, but she refused to let it control her. No, we're making it better for Sam. We'll show everyone the truth is stronger than their lies. For a moment, an electric silence fell, and it felt like the entire world held its breath. Then a hand shot up in the crowd. I know what happened. A boy called out from the back. I saw the whole thing. Lily's heart raced. What? She turned, desperately seeking the boy's face through the throng. This could be it, the proof they needed. But just as this glimpse of hope shined, she noticed Sam stepping back, uncertainty flashing in his eyes. Would he really want to go through this? Is this worth it? He murmured, fear etched deeply in his features. Lily could only hope she was right. Unity still flickered in her chest, but she couldn't shake the darkness creeping around them. But one thing was sure, now or never, they had to push forward. Would the truth truly set them free? Or would the weight of the lies prove too heavy to bear? The stakes were rising, and time was slipping through their fingers. The boy in the back stepped forward, his face breaking through the haze of uncertainty in a wave of determination. I swear, I saw everything, he called out again, his voice stronger now. The crowd grew still, pulse racing like a drum, the tension almost palpable as eyes turned to him. As he moved closer, Lily could see a flicker of recognition dance across Sam's face. Maybe this was it. This was the moment they'd been waiting for, a chance to finally face what had been festering for too long. But part of her heart ached for Sam's hesitation. Should he carry this burden? Tell us, Lily urged, clenching her fist tighter as she faced the boy. What did you see? There was a moment's silence, heavy with weight. The boy glanced around, his gaze skimming over the sea of faces filled with expectation and fear. I saw the whole thing go down by the playground, Sam. Didn't he do anything wrong? It was Jackson who started the fight. He was just messing with Sam to impress everyone. A shocked whisper swept through the crowd, echoing the disbelief. And it suddenly clicked for Lily. Jackson, the head bully, he was the real instigator. See, she said, firing up again. This is the truth. We can't let them win. Sam's lips parted, and his eyes met Lily's. The mix of hope and fear was undeniable, but for the first time, he seemed to take a breath in. The air around them shifted, like a strong wind blowing away dark clouds. What are you doing? Jackson snarled, stepping forward again, trying to reclaim the power he sensed slipping from his fingers. People will only laugh at you for believing that, loser. His words were laced with desperation, and that made Lily's gut twist with courage. No, she replied, voice piercing the fog of intimidation. They respect Sam for standing up for himself. And the truth is always stronger than a lie. Ethan's support echoed in her as he stepped up beside her. And they're all just cowards. Isn't that right, guys? His words reached into the crowd, tugging at the embers of solidarity, igniting into warmth. Yes. Someone shouted from the back. We're not backing down. Everyone buzzed with excitement. The tide was turning. But at that moment, just as their passion crescendoed, Sam faltered. Wait, he murmured, eyes wide in fear. What if this makes it worse? What if it doesn't change anything? His voice broke through the growing anticipation, and silence swept back in confidence as the crowd held their breath. Everyone's attention turned to him, and the atmosphere shifted back to that familiar, debilitating uncertainty. Sam, if we don't fight for what's right, we'll let the bullies win forever, Lily said, stepping closer, her heart racing with empathy. You were strong enough to hide from it for so long. Now be strong enough to face it with us. He hesitated, wrestling with the weight of his decision. Would he step into the light? Would he fight for justice? Their gazes locked. Lily felt her heart beat fast. Was it possible he could see not just the fear, but the support swirling around him? Suddenly, a thought struck her. You matter, Sam. You have a voice, and it deserves to be heard. A flicker ignited in Sam's eyes, as if he were quietly gathering strength. The crowd shifted, their eyes gleaming with a mix of anticipation and camaraderie. Okay, Sam finally whispered, trembling. Let us do it. Let us tell them the truth. A wave of relief washed over Lily, pulsing through the crowd. She felt a surge of unity as if they were all breathing life into each other. But just then in the back, Jackson's laugh rang out, crude and taunting. Sure, let us go with the loser's story. But what happens when they all turn on you? With those words, Lily's heart raced once again, the stakes higher than ever. The battle lines were drawn. Was this truly the beginning of their fight? Or was the darkness just waiting to unleash its fury? The moment of change was upon them, and now, it felt like everything hinged on their next move. The tension in the air crackled like electricity. As Jackson's laughter echoed, a knot tightened in Lily's stomach. She could see Sam's resolve flickering. Fear washed over her like a cold wave, but she couldn't let it push her backward. Sam, she called out, her voice rising above the clamor. Remember why we're doing this. It's not just for you. It's for everyone who has ever been pushed around. The murmur in the crowd shifted again. People stared at Sam, their eyes filled with a mix of hope and uncertainty. Lily stepped closer, reaching out to gently squeeze his shoulder. You're not alone. We're all in this together. A young girl in the front row stepped forward, her face bright with determination. I was bullied last year, she shouted. I know how it feels, Sam. We need to stand together. The boy who had spoken out first nodded, his expression fervent. Jackson is scared. That's why he pushes people around. We can't let his fear control us anymore. Tears pricked the corners of Sam's eyes as he took a shaky breath. With each heartbeat, the weight of their words seemed to soften him. You really think they'll listen? He asked, his voice almost lost in the murmurs of the crowd. Lily nodded vigorously. Yeah. They're already listening. If we stand firm, we can turn this around. You just have to trust us. A ripple of agreement swept through the onlookers, their voices rising collectively, a chorus of support. Stand up, Sam. Tell the truth. Sam's courage flickered again, just for a moment, and that moment burst into flame. Okay, he whispered, heart racing. I'll try. For all of us. Applause erupted. Everyone felt the change coursing through them. A unifying force that began to overshadow the tension. Jackson's expression hardened, his smirk replaced with indignation. Do you really think that changes things? He spat, taking a menacing step toward Sam. You'll regret this. The crowd grew aggressive. They could feel the shift. This was a turning point. A battle for not just Sam's dignity, but for their shared right to exist without fear. Jackson was losing his grip, and they could see it. Why don't you go play in traffic, Jackson? Ethan shouted, laughter pealing from the crowd. The moment hung in the air, a collective breath of resentment aimed straight at Jackson, thickening the tension. Suddenly, Sam found his voice in the outrage of the moment. You think your bullying makes you better? It's hiding your own fear. I'm done with letting it tear me apart. The energy surged again in their group. Some of the students began shouting their stories, sharing painful truths, each experience like fuel pouring onto the fire that had ignited in Sam. But the situation was still fragile. They had stepped into the light, but the darkness of their fear loomed just beyond the crowd. Jackson glared at Sam, anger palpable in the way he clenched his fists. You think this will end well for you? I'll make sure you'll wish you stayed silent. Sam steadied himself, posture firming as he met Jackson's gaze. Maybe not. But I refuse to be scared of you anymore. Lily's heart felt like it might burst with pride. The tide was truly turning, but could they really stand up against someone like Jackson, who thrived in chaos? Before anything more could unfold, the school principal, Mr. Thompson, stepped onto the platform, eyes keen on the growing unrest. What is happening here? He boomed, the authority of his voice snapping everyone into momentary silence. Eyes darted from Sam to the principal, questions lingering. Was this going to bring a resolution, or lead to more trouble? Lily held her breath, knowing that every second now was crucial. Would they finally get the chance to share their truth, or had they just stepped into a new realm of conflict? The answers loomed just beyond the moment, and the air grew thick with possibility. Mr. Thompson's presence loomed like an unmovable rock in the stream of emotions that surged around them. He looked at Sam, then at Jackson, weighing the tension with a furrowed brow. His voice, deep and authoritative, sliced through the thick air. You will all calm down immediately. What is going on here? Lily felt the dam in her chest begin to swell. Was this their chance to finally voice everything? The energy in the crowd shifted slightly as they braced themselves, collective anxiety mixing with lingering hope. Mr. Thompson, Lily spoke up, her voice steady despite the flutter of nerves. We're trying to stand up to bullying. Sam has something important to say, something that can change everything. The principal turned his attention fully to Sam, waiting for him to take the next step. Sam's heart pounded like a drum. He felt the weight of every gaze on him, the anticipation so thick it was almost a tangible pressure. This was it. I just want to say that bullying has hurt a lot of us, Sam began, stumbling over the words but pressing through the fear. Jackson and others like him think they can push us around, but it ends now. We won't be afraid anymore. The crowd erupted in cheers, words of encouragement washing over him like sunlight breaking through clouds. But Jackson, his face twisted in disbelief and anger, took a step closer, fists still clenched. You think you can just say that and everything changes? He shot back, voice dripping with contempt. You're just a loser, Sam. I'll make sure everyone knows it. Sam's resolve trembled for a moment, but he steadied himself, muscles tensing with the support he felt enveloping him. You're scared, Jackson. We all see it. We all felt what bullying does. But you can't hide behind it anymore. The students rallied around him, united in their resolve. Jackson's jaw tightened, and for a moment, it looked like he might back down. The crowd's energy surged, urging him further. Yeah, shouted Ethan. It's time for you to realize that we are stronger together. The momentum built like a wave, and even Lily could feel it. This was their moment. Sam had found his voice, and it was more powerful than she ever imagined. Doesn't it feel lonely to be the one who brings pain? Sam continued. What if instead, you were respected for standing with us? You might be surprised how strong kindness can be. All eyes were locked on Jackson now, who blinked in surprise, perhaps taken aback by the sincerity in Sam's words. The crowd held its breath for a moment, waiting for his response. This isn't over, Jackson finally spat, stepping back, his bravado cracking under the pressure. He turned on his heel and stormed away, leaving a palpable hush behind him. Cheers erupted in the crowd, each voice lifted in triumph, the echoes of unity ringing in the air. But as the crowd celebrated, Lila's heart sank just a little. She knew that this wasn't the end. Jackson wouldn't back down so easily. We need to stay vigilant, she whispered to Sam. This was brave, but there's still more to fight against. Sam nodded, determination creeping back into his spine. I know. But today felt different. I think we started something huge. The atmosphere buzzed with a new sense of hope, but the clouds of uncertainty still loomed. They had won a small battle, but would they have the strength to face the war ahead? And just as Lily considered the looming shadows, a distant buzz of her phone pulled her back. A notification flashed Jackson posting something on social media. Her stomach dropped as she opened it. What had he said? The crowd was still cheering, but beneath the surface, a new fear began to stir. What news was about to surface? And what would be the fallout from Jackson's next move? Lily's heart raced as she stared at the screen. Jackson's post blared with capital letters, loud and bold, filled with insults directed towards Sam and the other students. He painted them as a bunch of losers, desperately trying to be heroes in front of everyone. Attached was a candid shot from their earlier confrontation, where Sam stood passionately speaking with a crowd around him. But Jackson had zoomed in, capturing only the scowl on Sam's face, twisting the narrative to make him look ridiculous. Look at this, she whispered, turning her phone towards Sam. The cheers around them faded into a low murmur as he read Jackson's words, brow pinching deeper with every syllable. This is bad, he said, voice shaking slightly. He can't get away with this. Everyone will see, but as he spoke, a part of him knew that Jackson's words could reach further than mere insults. The echo of Sam's bravery was in danger of being overshadowed by this skewed smear campaign. Lily, you need to share this, Ethan urged, peering over her shoulder. We can't let Jackson control the story. We need to show everyone the truth. With a nod, Lily hesitated momentarily. Was it the right move? Should they counter Jackson's anger with more anger? But her instincts kicked in. They had to defend what they had just won. She quickly screenshot the post, fuming at the absurdity of it all. Let us expose the truth, Samantha. You can tell people how brave you were, Ethan added. Before she could reply, another notification pinged loudly. Jackson was posting again, this time attacking Lily specifically, calling her a traitor to the popular kids. The wave of emotions slammed into her, but she wasn't going to let him win. She could feel the thick tension in the air. Sam had just spoken courageously, igniting something powerful in everyone. Yet here was Jackson, trying to undermine it in true bully fashion. We're not scared of you, Jackson. She brushed off with growing confidence. We are stronger than your insults. As she tapped out a swift response filled with courage, reassuring words about kindness and unity, she felt the support of her fellow students wrapping around her like a warm blanket. Each of them began pulling out their phones, some typing frantically, rallying their friends to counteract Jackson's poison. Let us trend this, Ethan shouted, his face lighting up as he caught the spirit spreading through the crowd. If enough of us fight back, he won't stand a chance. We'll share stories of our experiences with bullying. With every new tweet and post, their movement began to develop a life of its own. Students were quoting Sam's earlier speech about kindness, writing testimonials about how they overcome bullying in their own lives. More kids joined in, filling the digital world with messages of resilience, while pushing Jackson's hateful rhetoric into the background. But just as the atmosphere turned electric, an unexpected buzz rang through the crowd. A vast flurry of notifications flashed again. It was a video. Lily clicked on it, and her heart dropped. Jackson was now beside his father in a deliriously wealthy mansion, placing himself as the victim, and claiming that Sam and their group were harassing him over a simple disagreement. He painted a picture of supreme unfairness, twisting every word they had just said, while his father stood proudly, further enhancing his status with disdain for those who stood against his son. "Wow, he's really twisting everything," Lily muttered, biting her lip. As the crowd simmered under the new wave of potential backlash, Lily sensed something monumental shift. They were up against more than just a bully. They were now faced with a giant, and his powerful silhouette overshadowed them. "Are we ready for this?" Sam's voice trembled, filled with doubt as the realization settled. Lily clenched her jaw. "We have to be. We started this fight, and we'll finish it. We won't let them silence us." But deep down, unease fluttered in her stomach. Could they actually muster enough strength to take on someone who stood behind wealth and influence? The battle had only just begun. Would their unity hold strong enough in the face of such power? As the video continued to circulate, a chilling question emerged: how far would Jackson go to maintain control? Lily stood paralyzed, staring into the glowing screen of her phone, watching the tide turn once more. The video of Jackson, dripping with entitlement and staged victimhood, spread virally like wildfire. Panic rippled through the crowd, but she refused to let it consume her. "Guys," she yelled, voice breaking through the uncertainty, "we can't let this undermine what we have started." Ethan nodded, stepping up beside her, his determination shining bright. "We're doing this for each other. We need to stand together now more than ever." He pointed to the faces in the crowd, the friends who had stood by Sam throughout the chaos. "All this anger, all this support, this is our strength. We can't let it go to waste." As whispers of doubt bubbled near the edges of the gathering, Lily's heart raced, fueled by Ethan's fierce drive. Sam stood beside them, brows knit in concern, but she could see the fire beginning to spark in his eyes. "You're right," he said slowly, voice steadier than before. "I've felt powerless for so long, but I won't let Jackson control me any longer." "Yes," Lily encouraged, her heart pounding in time with the resolve resonating from their makeshift army of supporters. "This is not just about you, Sam. It's about all of us and the change we want to see." All eyes turned back to the digital villain, imagining Jackson in his luxurious bubble, surrounded by privilege yet trembling in fear of losing control. Their unity began to shimmer under the weight of adversity as conviction bubbled to the surface. They would not sit by while a bully masked their goodness and manipulation. Searching for a response, Lily took a deep breath. "This is an opportunity to flip the narrative," she declared, her voice weaving through the crowd. "Let us share the truth of what is happening here. Let us show everyone that standing united against cruelty shines brighter than silver spoons and facade." With her direction lighting the path, faces turned determined as phones emerged once again. This time, they did not only typeset responses, but shared heartfelt stories, moments of courage and kindness that crowded into their lives amidst bullying. Each story blossomed into strength, turning fear into a groundswell of unity. They were countless voices rising to form a choir of resilience. "This is amazing," Ethan exclaimed, tension lifting from his shoulders as he saw support ripple across social media, transforming from a flicker into flame. "The more we share, the more we're drowning Jackson in our truth." A wave of encouragement swept across the crowd as the power of their community began to solidify. Lily felt hope surge, pushing the shadows back where they belonged. But deep down, she was still aware of the struggle ahead. "We have to make sure to counter every false narrative Jackson throws our way. Can we hold strong together?" "I'm ready," Sam said, newfound strength weaving through his voice. "This isn't just my fight anymore. It's ours." Each student rallied around him, their faces alight with determination. The winds were shifting the courage they each felt pushed against the chill that Jackson sought to instill. Lily glanced upwards, the night sky dotted with stars, and in that moment, She realized they were all pieces of a shimmering tapestry, woven from struggle, strength, and now unbreakable unity. Just then, the very air thrummed with possibility as a message popped up from the principal's office. He was calling for a meeting, inviting students to share their experiences openly. "This is it," Lily shouted, a spark igniting her heart. "We're taking this to the next level." As they moved as one towards the school, each step resonated with newfound hope, the determination echoing through their collective minds. She could see Ethan at her side, smiling, and Sam's courage blossoming like a flower breaking through concrete. But still, an ember of anxiety flickered as they reached the school doors. Even if they were stronger together, would their efforts hold against Jackson and his mighty influence? Minutes later, faces filled with anticipation gathered around the principal's desk, and Lily's heart raced with a mix of anxiety and unyielding hope. Mr. Thompson waited for silence before addressing them, his expression serious but attentive. "I believe you all have something important to share," he said, his voice steady though his presence commanded respect. As the students began to speak, sharing their stories one after the other, detailing not just their experiences of Sam's bravery, but how bullying had each affected their lives, something remarkable happened. The narrative began to shift. Lily felt a surge of pride swell through her chest as she watched Sam step forward, his voice steady and strong. "What Jackson is doing is wrong, and it's not just me. It's about everyone who has ever felt smaller because of someone else's fear," he declared, and the truth resonated within the walls of the school. "We won't be quiet anymore." Heads nodded in agreement, each student feeding off the energy around them, lifting their voices in unison. Their stories reflected like a mirror of hope, painting a collective picture of resilience splattered with vibrant hues against Jackson's dark narratives. Even as tension from Jackson's clan loomed nearby, the students felt the tide turning. The room buzzed with the realization of power in their unity. It was a moment where vulnerability melted into strength, becoming an unstoppable force, a true testament to what could be achieved when they stood together. Could this change the tide completely? Would they become the voice for those who had felt unheard for too long? The spark ignited by Lily's humble hardware store and Ethan's hidden passions had become a blazing wildfire. It was clear as daylight. They would carry on fighting not just for Sam but for every single person who still felt trapped under the shadow of a bully's cruelty. The fight was far from over, but hope wrapped around them like arms of a protective family, warming their resolve. This was only the beginning, and together they would always rise. Now was the time for action. Will you join the movement against bullying, share your story, and add your voice to the chorus of change? Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Your words matter. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share this journey of hope. Only true fans understand the importance of standing together against bullying.